Hey guys, it's me, Patty, with Patty's Movie Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing a movie called Brawl in Cell Block 99, starring the great Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Carpenter. It's mostly Vince Vaughn, though. It's a Vince Vaughn show. This movie came out last year. It's one of those movies that was like a straight to video or straight to services type of movie. I don't think it ever got released. It's low budget considering Vince Vaughn is in it. I don't know if he did it for free, but it seems like it. It's just a Vince Vaughn show. Vince Vaughn plays an ex-boxer. We don't find this out until later in the movie, which is pretty weird, but that's in the synopsis originally. I didn't know that until he went to the prison. But he's a basically like an auto mechanic or a tow truck operator, and it's funny about Vince's character in this. He plays like a Southern man, and he's such a Midwest like Yankee that him trying to talk like a Southern guy is really funny. Like when he brings this car up to like the auto mechanics and they're all standing outside. He's like, "Oh, I guess we have a surprise party. I guess I didn't get the invitation." Like he's being way too articulate and stuff, and I don't know, spiky to be a Southern guy, but it's really funny. I think you'll think that's really funny while you're watching this movie. How he's trying to be a Southern gentleman, but he still has that, I don't know, Northerner feel about him. Like all the Southern stuff seems forced. And there's a lot of one-liners and stuff. I wish I could remember him offhand, but anyways, he's got he's got a shaved head in this. Like he's a badass in this movie too. I might as well just say it now. But he also has a cross tattoo on the back of his head. So the whole time you're wondering, like, why does he have that if he's just a tow truck driver? But let's like the main thing, really weird. After this tow truck scenes, he goes home and he gets in a fight with his wife, like she's trying to leave. And he's like, "Get in the house. Just get in the house." Being all mad and Southern. And she goes in the house and he starts beating up her car with his fists. I was laughing so hard. He punches through the window and it's like very realistic because he's like breaking his hand on the window and he's like trying to punch through it. It takes like 10 punches through the window, and then he rips the hood that covers the engine off the car while it's closed and throws it across the neighborhood. And then like he punches the headlights out and he like punches into the headlight like, "Oh, you bitch." He punches into the headlight and he rips the innards of the headlight out, and he's throwing those into the yard too. What else did he? He's just beating the living shit out of this car, and he goes into the house, and his hands are all bleeding, but like he's all calmed down. He's like, "Well, Sussy, what's gonna make you stay with me?" She's like, "We don't have enough money, da 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 da," and he's like, "I want to have a kid. We need to take our relationship to the next level. I want to have a kid, and I'm going to make us some more money." And he decides to work for his one of his old pals from the old days. I guess this guy's like a drug importer, but he starts running packages for this guy, and she's like, "I knew you. You always said you would never do work for him, and sell drugs." And he's like, "I ain't selling drugs. I'm just delivering a package for my friend." All Southern. So he goes over to the house. He delivers a few packages. Like he goes into bad neighborhoods. And yeah, everything's going good. And then one day he meets the cartel people. I guess he's doing one last delivery so he can have a good future for his family. And of course, these cartel guys show up, and Vince also, there's so much going on in this movie. Vince is also a reformed alcoholic or drug addict or something, and he's a former boxer. So he's looking at one of the cartel guys, and he goes, "I'm working with them." And like these are some badass like Latino dudes, and Vince is just being a prick. He's like, I ain't gonna work with them. Your boy there, he's using. And the guy's like wants to fight Vince. That would have been a bad idea in this movie, but his friends just like, Vince, go do this deal, so we could make all that money. So they go out to the boat docks to make up this to get the package and pay for the package and whatnot. Or no, like yeah. They have drugs. They make a drug drop, and there's money out in the sea. So they have to go scuba diving for it, and they come back. And Vince is being a dick too. He goes out there and he's like, I don't trust you guys. Give me your weapons. Then he's like, turn around. Now get on the boat. Like he's bossing these cartel guys around. But, the cartel guys know Vince will beat both of them up. So they just give up their weapons. I don't know how accurate that is. But, yeah, so they get back to the dock. And they're like, well, thanks a lot, Vince. And they punch him in the stomach. And then they he's like, well, whatever. He doesn't even take it personally. He's like, well, I guess you guys deserve that. I'm being a prick. So they walk up, and they're going to, they split up the money with Vince or something. Well, they're done with the deal. The cartel guys are walking up, and they get in a big shootout with the Drug Enforcement Agency and the police, the local police. And they are lighting the police up. They are killing so many cops. Like, they have automatic weapons and grenades. And one of the cartel guys has like a dubbed voice, like they redubbed it. So he's like, here comes the pain MFers, and he's like throwing stuff at the cops and blowing up cars, like killing so many cops. And Vince is down there, and he's like, I'm just gonna drive away on that boat. I was like, please drive away on the boat, but he's like, oh shit, I can't let all those cops die. So he walks up there all big and dumb and slow. He walks up there, and he just walks straight up to the cartel guys and starts punching them in the face. And he punches the guy so hard that he falls into the line of fire, and the cops blow the guy's head off. They always show like close-ups of people getting their head blown off in this movie. And then the one guy starts shooting at Vince, and Vince has to like do a movie scene and jump back into the water. And yeah, Vince is underwater, and then you hear the cartel guy go, 8-ball corner pocket, and Vince is like, oh shit, he's throwing a grenade, and he like throws the perfect grenade, and it goes in right where Vince is, and Vince blocks it. The grenade blows up like 2 inches away from him, and he like puts his body sideways, and one of Vince's huge feet absorbs the entire grenade blast. Like, I thought he was like about to die. This is like within first 20 minutes of the movie. I was like, shit, he got all grenaded up. He's missing a leg, but he just got a bunch of shrapnel in his size 15 shoe, because they talk about his shoe size a lot in this movie too, and his height. So yeah, he goes back up there, and the guy's still killing all those cops, and he just starts monster bashing this guy. He beats the living hell out of this guy till he dies. And the cops are like, okay, stay still, hold your hands up, and they handcuff him. Anyways, yeah, so he gets sent to prison, He thinks he's going to get 4 years. The judge is real harsh on him and says, okay, we're giving you 7 years for drug trafficking, even though he saved all those cops' lives. 7 years, you're going away. And he goes to this place, and so he's in this place. Everything's cool. There's an older guy showing him around. He's like, just mind your business. This is not a violent prison. You get rec time. Food's pretty good. Everything like that. Just relax. You look like a tough guy, like you're going to knock somebody's head off. So he goes in there, and yeah, the guards are always arguing about how tall he is. And he's like, it showcases Vince Vaughn's height and toughness in this movie. But let's see. Okay, so there's this weird scene while he's in prison. He's like taking a nap, and his wife, his pregnant wife, is at home, and so she hears somebody break in the house and put in the code, and she pukes on the ground because she's so nervous and locks her door, and she has a gun, and then they shoot her with darts and kidnap her. So cut to Vince sleeping. And they said, you got a visitor. It's your wife's gynecologist, or whoever does pregnancies. but it's not. It's like this creepy European man. He's in a lot of stuff. I forgot the guy's name. Uli or something. He's been in these. He plays the same role in every movie. I can't remember what he was in though. He comes there and he's like, "Hello, hello, Vince. I wanted to let you know, your wife is in a very bad situation." And he's like, "What you talking about?" He's like, "You owe my employer $3.2 million, and if you don't do this, we have an abortionist from Korea." And Vince is like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "This abortionist, he can cut the hands and feet off a unborn child, and the child will still be born." Like some real sadistic shit. And Vince is like, "Oh God, how am I supposed to pay that?" And he goes, "You must kill an inmate named Branch, and he's in a different prison." And Vince is like, "How am I gonna go to a max security prison? I'm in this fishbowl 7 years." And he goes, "You must do something to make them put you there." So Vince, there's this guy with his guard harassing Vince because he wants him to box, because he's a former boxer. They never backed up that point anyways, but he's walking Vince back to his cell. He's like, "Sorry, I was giving you a hard time, da-da-da." So, taking Vince back to his cell, and he gets in a boxing match with the guard right in front of the cells. And Vince, the way he fights in this movie is really entertaining and funny, because he takes a lot of hits. It's like pretty realistic, but also like after people hit him, he'll just bear hug him because he's like a really strong giant. He bear hugs him and then he breaks limbs. That's like his signature move. So they get in a little boxing match and the guy's hitting him with a nightstick. It does nothing because Vince is like the toughest. He's like Steven Seagal tough in this movie. He breaks the guy's arms, and I think he breaks his legs too. So the guy's like, "Ugh!" And the other guards come up and they're like, "Vince, why'd you do that? You're doing so good." And he goes, "Well, your friend seemed to have a problem running his mouth." And the one guy's like, "Yeah, well, I got a joke for you. Want to hear the punchline?" And Vince is like, "What?" And he pistol whips him in the face, and it does nothing to Vince Vaughn. It was funny. So, yeah, this gets him transferred to the maximum security prison that the guy Branch is in. So, goes to the maximum security prison, and he goes out there, and the warden is Don Johnson in slicked back hair, and he smokes a cigar with leather gloves on. That was pretty gay. But yeah, that happens. He's out there, and he's like, "Oh boy, this ain't no place for prisoner rights. I just want to let you know." And he's like in front of the prison, and he goes, "And we got some bad news for you. Our inspection room is under construction, so you're gonna get your full cavity searches out here in the parking lot. Go on and strip, boy." And Vince has to strip in the parking lot and get violated out there. That must have been embarrassing. But anyways, he goes in. I think he fights with the guards too again. I don't know. He has to get to the lowest level of this max security prison to save his wife's, his baby's future limbs, so he doesn't have a baby with no hands and feet. So he's trying to make sure that doesn't happen. So he's got to mess up his prison stay no matter what. So he fights some more guards, probably breaks their arm, and they put him in this cell, like the holding cell where when you originally get there. It's a cell filled with the shit of 1,000 maniacs. There's just a shit toilet that's been clogged for years, and he goes in there and he's like gagging and stuff, and then he takes off his undershirt and wraps it around his face. So then they go out. They leave him in there for a week. He's just breathing shit and he can't eat because it's shit air. So they bring him out to the prison rec time. They give him some rec time, and there's some Latino gangsters over in the corner hogging the bench press. And there's a white guy, and he's like, "Hi, my name's Tom." And he's like, "Hey, my name is Vince. I need to go work out." And he's like, "Don't do that. Those guys are like MS-13 or some shit. They're going to kick your ass." And Vince is like, "I ain't scared. I'm going over here. Get out of my way." So he goes over there to like, hey, Vato, you tall as fuck. What are you doing over here? He goes, you guys are hogging the benches. I want to get myself a workout. And they said, these are benches, Gringo. And Vince is like, all right, you need to learn about sharing. He's like doing that southern thing in this movie that kept me laughing. But also there's a funny line. They're like, "Oh, you're loco," and he goes, "You're damn right, I'm crazy. Now get out of my crazy way." And he japs the main guy. He just punches this guy so hard, knocks him clean out. Knocks the main guy out, and then these other guys just get the barbells, the 50-pound barbells, those huge barbells, and they're hitting Vince with it. Does almost nothing to him because he's a monster. And I think this is when he does his signature move. I think he bashes one of the guy's skulls in, and he also breaks someone's spine. He picks him up, bear hugs him, and does the bear hug thing where you're holding someone, and he breaks the guy's spine. This is a big guy too. But Vince like pretty much disables this whole gang, and he gets sent down to cell block 99 finally within the maximum security prison so he can find Branch. All right, so he goes down there, and there's some weird politics going on down there. The guy is actually in like a group that is beyond the guards and Don Johnson. Like Don Johnson's cool with this guy, so like Vince also has this belt that shocks his kidneys on to keep him in line like a animal. And so he meets those guys, and the guards are cool, and they threw the charger thing so that they could just fucking charge Vince. Like they let those guys beat up Vince instead of the guards because he killed a lot of their gang, but they really mess him up. And he goes back to his cell for recovery. And eventually, by the end of this movie, what happens is Vince finally he disables one of the guards, or like he holds the guard hostage. Like he's like, I'll just snap his neck like a twig, and all the guards are like, he will. Like let's give him the keys. So he does this little Jimmy where he locks the two guards up, and they're not communicating with the other people. Takes a moment for Don Johnson to get there with his leather gloves and cigars that he's smoking and threats. So he goes and he kills Branch, who is, I guess, involved with the wife, the wife and the kidnapping and the Korean abortionist and the limb cutting. So he kills him, and then he calls the guy, the weird European guy, and he's like, hey, if you don't let my wife go, I'm just going to kill this guy. And he goes, I don't believe you. So Vince breaks both the guy's legs and like holds him up and is just dropping him on his head like a monster. And the guy's like, okay, well, you're not doing, Vince, this is not good. The deal is off. So Vince calls his buddy who made him run the drugs, and he eventually saves the wife. So this abortion stuff never happens, thank God. And Vince kills the entire gang. And it's so funny. The first guy he kills, he takes the guy's head, right? He beats up all like 4 guys at once in this gang. And the first guy, he slams him onto the ground, and he goes, give me your cell phone, or I'm going to make your boy hurt. And they say, we're not giving you the cell phone. So Vince stomps on the guy's head. Like the guy was face down on the ground. He stomps on the guy's head real hard, like he's biting his lips and everything, so it's hard. And he drags his size 15 foot pressured on the guy's face, and he drags the guy's face across the prison ground. And the guy flips over. It's like almost like a B movie. The guy flips over, and it's just exposed skull, and he's like, oh, like all Hellraiser. Like it's just all skull, because he just... and then, what else? Yeah, so he takes the main guy who he broke his legs, like the main gang leader, Branch, into his cell with the officer was in there too. He likes the officer. He doesn't mess with him, but he takes him in there, and Don Johnson's like, so I got time to smoke a cigar? And he's like, you got time for half of one. I'm just going to make some phone calls, then I'll give myself up. And I guess his friend calls and he says, well, your wife is safe. Everything's safe now. And he goes, thank you so much. Let me talk to my wife. And she's like, honey, you did it. You saved me. And he's like, yeah. She goes, I can't wait to see you soon again. When can I visit you soon again? And he goes, well, about that. Honey, I had to do some very bad things to save you. And I'm never going to be able to see you again. I'm very sorry about that. Just go on with your life. And she's like, oh, and he's going, I can't deal with this right now. There's guards that are probably going to kill me out here. She's like, oh, okay. So, and the phone call ends, and Don Johnson's like, so is that enough? And he goes, just one more thing. I got about 1 minute, right? And Don Johnson's like, that's about all you got. So he goes into the cell where he has everybody hostage, and the gang members in there with the police officer. And he goes in there, and then he starts stomping on the back of the gang member, and is really loud. And Don Johnson's like, "What are you doing in there, Vince?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just killing. I'm killing Branch." Like, that was pretty funny. And he does it again. He stomps this guy's freaking head in the back of his head until it cracks. Really cool prosthetic stuff in this movie, though. Like, they're showing the head crack open, and it's not CGI or anything, and Vince Vaughn is just a monster. And then the last scene, they come in, and he's done stomping the guy's head in, and then John Johnson's there with a cigar, and he's got the revolver, and you hear it click, and Vince turns around, and he goes, well, and he goes, what did he say? He goes, well, I guess that's about it, Vince. And he goes, I reckon so. And Don Johnson shoots him in the face and the head multiple times, and it shows a close-up of his head exploding. Fucking awesome. This movie was totally awesome. It had pretty much everything I like in a movie. It was also a B movie, so I mean, this is being graded on that scale, not the regular one, but story-wise, comedy-wise, acting-wise, everything was there. Good plots, good subplots. He wasn't really believable as a Southern guy. That's cool. It went with it. It's kind of like, how everybody was laughing at True Detective Season 2, how he was playing that Irish guy who was tough. It's even better than that. So, yeah, give this a try. Guys, Brawl on Cell Block 99. Out of a 5-star, it's rare, but this is a 3-star movie. I don't know when it's going to be streaming anywhere. I didn't download it illegally. I found it somewhere. You got to go that route. It might be on Amazon or something like that, but it's so funny and entertaining. Most people will like this. Out of 5 stars, it's 3-star. It's one of my highest reviews. And, it's not just because I'm a Vince Vaughn fan. This thing was really good. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the review. Many more to come. Have a great day. See you next time.